English class. In the previous class, we discussed about the special bonding between Kushwant Singh and his grandmother through the lesson, The Portrait of a Lady. Today, we're going to discuss the second part or the second phase of their special relationship. Are you all ready? Are you all interested to listen to their story? If you are, let's begin. When my parents were comfortably settled in the city, they sent for us. That was a turning point in our friendship. Although we shared the same room, my grandmother no longer came to school with me. I used to go to our English school in a motor bus. There were no dogs in the streets, and she took to feeding sparrows in the courtyard of our city house. As the years rolled by, we saw less of each other. For some time, she continued to wake me up and get me ready for school. When I came back, she would ask me what the teacher had taught me. I would tell her English words and little things of Western science and learning. The law of gravity, Archimedes' principle, the world being round, etc. This made her unhappy. She could not help me with my lessons. She did not believe in the things they taught at the English school and was distressed that there was no teaching about God and the scriptures. One day, I announced that we were being given music lessons. She was very disturbed. To her, music had lewd associations. It was the monopoly of harlots and beggars and not meant for general folk. She said nothing, but her silence meant disapproval. She rarely talked to me after that. Dear children, in the previous class, we already discussed that Kushwant Singh's parents left him with his grandmother and they settled in city. Okay. So now, parents, you know that in the beginning, if we just move on to some places and all, it will be very difficult for us to get settled. Okay. But now, Kushwant Singh's parents comfortably settled there in the city, so they just called Kushwant Singh and grandmother to the city. So Kushwant Singh and grandmother left village and they also went to the city and settled with Kushwant Singh's parents. Clear? And we know that village school and city schools is entirely different. Yes? Okay. So when Kushwant Singh settled comfortably there in the city, he was sent to English school. Okay, so he started using motor bus. You people know that if you want to come to your school, you can use the school conveyance, right? Same like that, Kushwant Singh used the school transportation motor bus and he goes to school by using this. Okay, so you people know that what would happen? Grandmother was unable to accompany him to the school. Okay, which is not allowed. You people know. But village, what they used to do? Grandmother also used to go with him to the village school. But here, when they settled in the city, she was unable to go with Kushwant Singh. Okay. But whenever Kushwant Singh come back from school, grandmother used to ask him what did he learn in the school. Okay. So Kushwant Singh started saying some English words, okay, because he started going to the English school, so that change entirely clearly reflected in his words, okay. So he started saying some English words and all, and grandmother was not able to understand what he speaks, okay. And also grandmother was not able to help him in his studies, okay, because she doesn't know that. And once grandmother asked him that, what the teachers used to teach you there in the city schools, okay. So he used to tell about some English words and also Archimedes' principles, gravity, like different words, okay. But grandmother was really stunned to hear this because she was not familiar with these. And also, I told you grandmother was not able to follow him, okay. You know that when they were in the village, grandmother used to feed the stray dogs, right, with the stale chapatis. But here, she was not able to go with him, and also stray dogs were not there in the city. So she found another solution because she wanted to do something. Okay, life get bored. So what did she do? You know, many sparrows used to come to their city house, and she started feeding the sparrows. Okay, that was her only entertainment in the city. Okay, before she used to enjoy with her grandson, but now she was unable to go with him, and that life she really missed. And then she just found herself an entertaining activity, that was she used to feed the sparrows in the courtyard. Okay, that was the only entertainment for her. And one day Kushwant Singh came back from school. That time Kushwant Singh announced that her grandmother, he said, today I got the lesson on music, means that in my school music classes started. When grandmother heard about music, she was really shocked, okay, because to her, music is the language of beggars. It will do nothing for the students, okay. Students will get nothing in the music classes. That was her opinion, okay. Music was the language. Music is the language of beggars, and it will do nothing for students. That was her opinion, okay. But she did not say anything, but she was really totally disappointed with city school. Okay, why? Because teachers never used to give the religious lessons or lessons on scriptures, and she never get any religious lessons from English school. Okay, that's why she was already disappointed. But now she heard about music classes. She was totally disappointed. Okay, and that day onwards, she just started speaking to him very rarely only. That communication also goes. Okay, but you know, when they just shifted to city school or city house, they used to share the same room, means that grandmother also used to stay in the same room with Pushpan Singh. Everything goes like that, okay. But when she was just quite disappointed with the city schools, and she rarely talks to Pushpan Singh. When I went up to university, I was given a room of my own. The common link of friendship was snapped. My grandmother accepted her seclusions with resignation. She rarely left her spinning wheel to talk to anyone. From sunrise to sunset, she stayed by her wheel spinning and reciting prayers. Only in the afternoon she relaxed for a while to feed the sparrows. While she sat on the veranda breaking the bread into little bits, hundreds of little birds collected around her, creating a veritable bedlam of chirpings. Some came and perched on her legs, others on her shoulders. Some even sat on her head. She smiled but never shooed them away. It used to be the happiest half hour of the day for her. So, my dear children, when they settled in the city, that was the second phase of their relationship. Now, what we discussed, that is the second phase of their relationship. So, the first phase, they just shared their in the village days, and the second phase when they settled in the city. Okay, and now just we move on to the third phase. Now, our author Pushpan Singh became a grown-up child, and he started going to the university for higher studies. Okay, and you people know that now you are also in that age. Okay, when you reach these teens, you just want a separate room. Am I right? Okay, that you need some privacy. So same like that, our author needs some privacy, so he just got his own room, a separated room. He just moved on to a separated room. So until then, they share the single room, but now he just moved to another room. Okay, grandmother accepted it. Okay, she did not say anything. She just understood or realized the fact, and then she just took that resignation from him. Means that I told you before, very rarely she used to talk. Now even that conversation also became collapsed, okay, and both of them got separated. And now our writer Pushpan Singh started using his own room and grandmother in her own room. And I told you only one entertainment she just found herself, that was feeding sparrows, okay. But now she could find another entertainment for herself, that is the spinning of wheel. Okay, she just used to weave the yarn by spinning the wheel. Okay, that was the another activity she found for herself. And when where the author got separate room and he just completely separated from grandmother found herself another activity, that is the spinning of the wheel. Okay, always she sits in her room, she never comes out of the room. Okay, she always used to spin the wheel and in one hand used to count the rosaries and lips always moved with inaudible prayer, and that was her practice when our author Pushpan Singh started going to the university. And in the evening, only for half an hour, she used to come out of the room and feeds the sparrows. Okay, when she just break the breads into small pieces and throw it to the sparrows, hundreds of birds comes from somewhere and they used to sit there. Sometimes some sparrows used to come and sit on her shoulder or legs. Or a grandmother used to enjoy these birds, okay, and their chirping and all. And whenever these birds come and sat on her shoulder, she never shooed them away. She enjoyed those all. Only that was her favorite activity, and she get happiness only for that half an hour when she spent her day with sparrows. Okay. When I decided to go abroad for further studies, I was sure my grandmother would be absent. I would be away for 5 years, and at her age one could never tell. But my grandmother could. She was not even sentimental. She came to leave me at the railway station, but did not talk or show any emotion. Her lips moved in prayer. Her mind was lost in prayer. Her fingers were busy telling the beads of her rosary. Silently she kissed my forehead, and when I left, I cherished the most imprint as perhaps the last sign of physical contact between us. My dear children, after university, our author Pushpan Singh decided to go to abroad for his higher studies. Okay, when he took this decision, he knows clearly that when grandmother hear this decision, she would be absent. Okay, but you know what happened when he just said about his decision? Grandmother did not show any emotion. Okay, she controlled herself because grandmother knows that that is his future. She cannot stop him. Okay, so grandmother did not show any sentiments. Okay, and at the same time, for 5 years the author is going. Okay, actually he's leaving the country for 5 years for his further studies. Okay, and we all know that grandmother is terribly old. After 5 years, when the author would come back to his city, whether the grandmother would be alive or not, nobody can say this. Okay, that even author knows this, and we the readers also know this fact. Okay, because the grandmother is terribly old. After 5 years, when Pushpan Singh come back to his country, whether the grandmother would be alive or not, okay, we are not sure. That everybody knows. Okay, but grandmother also knows this fact. Okay, whether she would meet her grandson again, she doesn't know. But she did not show any emotion when our writer went to the railway station. Okay, even grandmother also went with him, and she just tightly hold his hands. Okay, when the train started moving, that time grandmother kissed his arm. Okay, and even the forehead also she gave a kiss. And that was even our writer also felt that sometimes that will be the last physical contact between them, because he is not sure that whether he would meet her again or not. Okay, so when he got that kiss on forehead, he thought that that would be their last physical contact. Okay, but what happened after that? Okay, grandmother did not say anything. She just waved him bye-bye and went back to home. But that was not so. After 5 years, I came back home and was met by her at the station. She did not look a day older. She still had no time for words. And while she clasped me in her arms, I could hear her reciting her prayers. Even on the first day of my arrival, her happiest moments were with her sparrows, whom she fed longer and with frivolous rebukes. In the evening, a change came over her. She did not pray. She collected the women of the neighborhood, got an old drum, and started to sing. For several hours, she thumped the sagging skins of the dilapidated drum and sang of the homecoming of warriors. We had to persuade her to stop to avoid overstraining. That was the first time since I had known her that she did not pray. So, my dear children, our author thought that that was their last physical contact. Okay, but what happened? Do you know that was not the end? After 5 years, Pushpan Singh finished his studies and all, and after 5 years, he came back to his city. Okay, and that time when he reached the same railway station, who was there? You know, who just received him? Yes, the same grandmother was there to receive him. And when Pushpan Singh saw her, he just felt that the grandmother remains the same, okay, even she did not look one day older, 5 years passed, okay, but the lady remains the same. The grandmother was never felt a single day older, okay, and she just received her grandson and both of them went back to home, okay. But one special thing happened that day. What do you know? Grandmother, I know. See, when she received his grandson and then hold him tightly, and that time also the author Pushpan Singh, he could hear the inaudible prayer in her lips. Okay, means that we know from the beginning till this all this time she was just counting the beads in the rosary and used to say the inaudible prayer. And that time when he reached the railway station also, he could see that inaudible prayer in her lips, and they just went back to their home. But that day, a special thing happened. You know what is it? Grandmother stopped praying in her life for the first time, and even others also could see this for the first time, okay, because she continuously used to pray. But that day she stopped praying. Instead, what she did, you know, a broken drum was there in their home. She took that broken drum and called all the neighborhood women and started beating the drum very fast, okay, means that no rhythm and all, nothing, okay, just simply she started beating the drum. And many neighborhood women also just gathered there. She called everyone and started singing the song for homecoming warriors, okay, you know that the soldiers after their fight for the country and all, when they just returned home, the people used to receive them with songs, okay, that is various song. So she started singing the songs for homecoming warriors, okay, and started beating this drum. And everybody, even Pushpan Singh, his father, mother, everybody says her, stop doing this, okay, you should not overstrain yourself, you are very old, should not do such thing and all. They just asked her to stop it, but grandmother did not listen to their word. She just continued this for long time, okay. And for the first time in her life, she just stopped praying, okay. She did not pray that day, okay. She stopped that. The next morning, she was taken ill. It was a mild fever and the doctor told us that it would go. But my grandmother thought differently. She told us that her end was near. She said that since only a few hours before the close of the last chapter of her life, she had omitted to pray. She was not going to waste any more time talking to us. We protested, but she ignored our protest. She lay peacefully in bed, praying and telling her beads. Even before we could suspect, her lips stopped moving and the rosary fell from her lifeless fingers. A peaceful pallor spread on her face and we knew that she was dead. So, my dear children, she stopped praying for the first time in her life. But all those days, okay, the past 5 years also, she was continuously feeding her sparrows, okay, that also Pushpan Singh observed. She did not stop that practice. When the author went to abroad, that time also, he just saw this thing, okay, what was it? She just used to feed the sparrows, that was only her entertainment. And still she used to do the same thing, clear? But for the first time in her life, she stopped praying, okay. And that day was over. The very next day, early morning, everybody saw that grandmother got a mild fever. She was ill, okay, she was sick and a mild fever. So Kushwant Singh called the doctor. Doctor came and he just observed her, and after said only mild fever, it would go. After taking medicine, it would be okay, and it would go. She would be okay, like that he said. Okay. But grandmother thought in a different way. She said, no, my end is near. I am going to die. Like that grandmother said. And she says, yesterday I wasted my time. I did not pray. But today I don't want to talk to you people. I don't want to waste time. Okay. You get my rosary. I want to pray. Like that she said. Okay. But everybody protested. Should not do. Okay. Take rest. You have fever. Everybody protested, but grandmother did not listen to their words. She just asked to get the rosary. So they gave the rosary, and she started counting the beads of the rosary and started praying. Okay, that lips started moving. Okay, inaudible prayer. She just started that. That is her practice. We know that. And everybody was there, and even before suspecting what happened, she was just doing that. She was counting the rosary, but suddenly the rosary fell from her hand, okay? And the lips stopped moving, okay? So everybody suspected. They just went near to her and understood that grandmother is dead. We lifted her off the bed and, as in customary, laid her on the ground and covered her with a red shroud. After a few hours of mourning, we left her alone to make arrangements for her funeral. In the evening, we went to her room with a crude stretcher to take her to be cremated. The sun was setting and had lit her room and veranda with a blaze of golden light. We stopped halfway in the courtyard. All over the veranda, had in her room, right up to where she lay dead and stiff wrapped in the red shroud. Thousands of sparrows sat scattered on the floor. There was no chirping. We felt sorry for the birds, and my mother fetched some bread for them. She broke it into little crumbs the way my grandmother used to and threw it to them. The sparrows took no notice of bread. When we carried my grandmother's corpse off, they flew away quietly. Next morning, the sweeper swept the breadcrumbs into the dustbin. So the grandmother is dead. Now, as a customary, we know that they just lifted her body and just spread the red cloth down, and they just lifted her body to that red cloth and just laid her down and covered her body with that red cloth. You people know that that is the customary. So they just kept her body there, and everybody started mourning. Okay, and after that they left her dead body there and went to do the arrangement for her funeral. Okay, Kushwant Singh, his father and all, everybody just left her body there and they just went to do the arrangement for the funeral. And after doing all the arrangements, evening they just came back to take the body to the cemetery. Okay, so they just came back for that. And that time the sun is about to set, and you know that golden rays, okay, we could see the golden rays of the sun, and it reaches through the veranda even to the rooms. Okay, so that was the time, and these people, they just came and lifted the body to get cremated. So they just came and lifted and carried the body through the veranda. And that time everybody was shocked to see a scene. Okay, what was it? Thousands of sparrows were spread everywhere. Means thousands of sparrows, they came to the veranda and they were just sitting. Okay, the birds were sitting at the veranda, even the rooms and everywhere. They could see thousands of birds. Okay, but there were perfect silence. The birds were not chirping. They were not making any noise. Okay, complete silence. But everybody could see thousands of birds there, okay, and they were also just doing that mourning for the grandmother, okay. And birds, they don't know anything and all, they used to chirp always, okay, but that happiness was not there, and even the sparrows just sat there silently. They did not make any noise. So Kushwant Singh's mother felt pity on them. She just went inside and took bread and make it into small pieces and throw it to the birds, okay. But you know what happened? The birds did not touch a single piece of bread, okay, and they just left the place. So Kushwant Singh and others, they carried the body to the cemetery and got cremated. Clear? And the very next day, the sweeper came and just swept all the bread crumbs from there. Clear? Means that even the sparrows showed their sadness towards this Kushwant Singh's grandmother's death. Means that they were just really, even the birds and grandmother, both they were very much attached. That's why the birds, even they did not touch the breads, okay, they just left the place. Okay, this is the story. My dear children, this is the story. Are you all emotional? A drop of tear rolled down your cheeks? If it is so, I am succeeded. My dear children, whenever we lose something in our life, then only we get to know the value of it. So, whoever are there around you, all are so precious to you. Should not lose the opportunity when you get to spend with them. It is very important. Okay. Love your mother, love your father, love your siblings, love your grandparents, whoever are there in your family. Keep a close bonding, keep your close relationship with them. Spend times with them. Enjoy your love. Give proper care, love and affection to them. Okay, make your life happy. Should not lose the opportunity to spend time with them, because lost days are lost. You will never get it back again. Right? Okay, this is for the day. Thank you for being with me.